Hey friends, I hope everybody's doing great today. We're gonna have some fun today and do something a little different than we normally do. Gonna step away from working on the bug project for just a minute because we've got a box of fun right here. Let me walk you through what we've got. We start with just a simple 50 mil ammo can that I got from Harbor Freight. They run sales on these every once in a while, and they're good. They're rugged. They've got a good seal on them, and they seem to hold up pretty well. Inside our box of toys, we have a few things. We've got some leads with hefty alligator clips on the end. They look like jumper cables. I'll tell you why. We've got a master switch set like you would put on the dashboard. A small 2-inch tachometer. A bus bar for power distribution, and a couple of small LED lights. What we're building today is a starter box. If you're ever going to start your bug or VW from, let's say, the engine bay area, or if you are looking to start an engine from a test stand, you want to be able to remote start it, you want to be able to control it, so this would help. The idea came from a few folks. OffAxisBuild is one of them. VWJawbreaker, I'll link both of their videos in the description. They make some pretty good versions of this. Like VWJawbreaker says, there's lots of different ways to skin the cat, so this is our iteration of that. And let me walk you through what we're going to do. The heart of our setup here is this panel. It was cheap, it was on Amazon. I think I got all the parts probably for less than 50-60 bucks. This was probably 20, so probably one of the higher end. And the ammo can, which I have a few of them laying around from one of my other hobbies, so I'm not too worried about the ammo can. I consider that a sunk cost. I had it, I'm going to use it. This is nice because it gives us a master switch that we can turn on all the power to anything we want to do. So nothing will turn on until we turn the master switch on. It's got an engine start button. Yay, racy. Vroom, vroom. And it's got 3 switches on it. We're actually going to modify this setup a little bit. The first switch we're going to use to energize our coil. So if we want to start the engine and run the engine, but not have the coil fire over, so basically start it so you're priming it to get oil pressure going through, we can keep this switch turned off and keep no power to our coil and just run the start. You don't want to run it too long, you don't want to burn up your starter, but just enough that you get some oil building up through the case. Our second switch is going to be a fuel pump switch. I'm going to run a fuel pump in my dune buggy, so I want to be able to turn the fuel pump on and off. And then last but not least, we have an extra switch here on the end. I'm going to actually take this switch out and replace it with one of the small LEDs. And then just down below it here where it says accessory 2, I'm going to drill another hole and put another light. Top light, I'm going to have be my oil pressure light. Bottom light is going to be my alternator indicator light. So I might actually change that around, but we've got coil, fuel pump, and this is going to come out. Again, that's our oil pressure, and then down where the new hole is going to be, that'll be our alternator light. How I'm going to mount it in the box is I went on and I bought a couple pieces of Kydex. I'm going to use one of the other pieces for some of the access panels I put in the tunnel of the Beetle. This stuff is really nice because you can heat it and bend it and it'll hold its shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically measure and get equal distance on both sides, kind of looked and marked it off, and heated it up, fold it over, and I'm going to use this as a panel inside here. This will sit in here as well. Let me flip this around so it's a little better view. Nice, the lid comes right off. Let's set that off the side. So if we take our Kydex and lay it in there like so, we have our start switch in here. The panel can go right there, and right below it our alternator can go in. I'm going to take it out of this little pod that it's mounted in, and I'm just going to set it right into the cover. But this allows us to have our wiring down inside the box, and when we're done, we can tuck everything away inside the box and just take it with us wherever we need to go. If we need to go to a buddy's house, if we need to go to a junkyard, this really helps. And ideally, we can actually get a small battery in here. You can get one of the jump pack batteries and get it in here. You're not going to get a lot of crank and amps out of it, but if all you're looking to do is see if you can turn an engine over, get it to fire up, you can get one of those small batteries and it'll sit right in here. So that might be a later addition to this. So I'm going to get started and we'll walk through this. Alright, so what I was able to do through all of that is I've got my power coming in from my red alligator clip up to the power on side of the master switch. Power out, coming into the power in for our starter switch. Daisy chain down to the power in for what will be our coil switch, and the power coming down to be the power in for what will be our fuel pump switch as well. Now down here at the end we have the two small LEDs. One of these will be powered and the other will be ground to the item that we're using. So the earth ground will be off of the oil pump for our green guy, and our yellow will be our alternator. So I need, in my infinite wisdom, I fit all the wires and realizing I have to set this down through the Kydex. So I'm going to have to disconnect this last one and redo it, because I've got to run the small positives down to these guys and not set this in, not connect this last red with its permanent, this last hot one down here, this last bit of the daisy chain, until I've set it down through the Kydex. So the alternator, or the tachometer, is really easy. It only has 5 wires. So your red is your battery positive, all the time battery positive. White is going to go to your ignition switch. So I'm going to put that on, hook that up to the downward side of our push button start switch. The green goes to our coil, and that's going to be what gives us our signal, our tack signal. And then our black is our earth ground, and our yellow is another 12 volt and again, in my infinite wisdom, I need to run to off of the power, because off the master power, because that is our light. So this is illuminated. I don't have to have that yellow hooked up if I don't want to have a backlight in here, but you know what, it's got it, might as well hook it up. So I'm going to redo this last one. Give me 2 more jumpers off of here, give me this, but not until I set it down through the Kydex.
Alright, so here we are a couple days later. I had to finish a couple of the projects, get things done. And this is our finished product. This is our starter box right here. It's nice because it's all self-contained right here in this Harbor Freight ammo can. Everything's right in here. So here we go. Let's get it open. I like these Harbor Freight ones because they're nice. They still slide apart very easy. So if you want to take that lid off and tuck it off to the side, you can. But everything is in here. All right, it's all self-contained. All my wires are nice and neatly tucked up here in the top, and my control box is down here in the bottom. I have my master switch I can turn on, engine start button. I have my coil wire. I have my alternator wire, and I have my indicator lights. So what I've done is I've gone in here and here's all of my wires. Looks like a couple of the labels are starting to come off a little bit, but it's all right. What I did is I took my handy dandy label maker that hooks up to my iPhone, and I produced some labels that go on here so that I know what wires go to what. There's a couple labels that I forgot to make, and so I'm going to make those on the cluster itself. But I went through, and each wire is labeled, so I know exactly what it goes to, and I know exactly what it feeds. So everything's set up really well. I'll probably tape these with some clear packing tape so that they don't come off again. They end up with nice little flags on here. Each one's labeled with what it is. So like this one with brown wire says it goes to the fuel pump. It's pretty clear. If I wrap it in some brown packing tape or some clear packing tape, that won't come off. It won't come loose. So everything is in here. Everything can go where it needs to. If I need to make some wires longer, I can make them longer. If I need to make them shorter, I can make them shorter. Your battery wire, you just go right down to your battery, whatever battery you have hooked up. If you really want to, grab your handy dandy jump pack, and you can connect right to the terminal leads on your jump pack. That's one of the nice things is you can actually use a jump pack as your battery. So if you keep one of those jump packs with you, if you want to use that for something, you can. I've used those in junkyards before just to completely start a car, to get a car out of the junkyard. If you know it's going to start, you can fire it up on the jump pack and drive it out of the yard on the jump pack. All right, but that's everything. That's how it's all together. I'll show you in a later video when I get everything set up in the garage, and we'll get this guy hooked up to an engine on a stand and fire it up and see how we do. All right, thanks. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys. Please tell your friends. The following is really starting to pick up. Getting a lot more comments, a lot more subscribers. It feels really good. So look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. All right, take care. Bye.